Money laundering, it sounds like something out of a gangster movie, right? But it's a very real problem. Criminals make a lot of dirty money. They can't just spend it openly. That's where money laundering comes in. It's the process of making dirty money look clean. They do this by hiding the source of the money. They use complex schemes and transactions. This makes it hard to trace the money back to the crime. Money laundering is a global problem. It affects everyone, not just banks. It weakens economies and funds terrorism. We need to understand money laundering to fight it. We need to know how it works. We need to know its impact, and we need to know what's being done to stop it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about TD Bank. They got caught in a huge money laundering scandal. In 2024, they admitted to helping criminals. These criminals were part of Colombian drug cartels. TD Bank helped them launder over $600 million. They ignored red flags and warnings. They also failed to monitor suspicious transactions. This went on for almost a decade. The consequences were huge. TD Bank had to pay a record $1.8 billion penalty. They also faced a separate fine of $3.09 billion. Regulators capped their assets at $434 billion. This case shows how badly things can go wrong. It highlights the failure of banks to stop these crimes. It also shows the human cost of money laundering. People within the bank, even high-level officials, were involved. TD Bank isn't alone. Other big banks are in trouble too. Wells Fargo, for example, has been flagged by regulators. They have serious problems with their anti-money laundering systems. They've been told to fix these problems, but it keeps happening. Bank of America is another one. They were ordered to stop certain activities. Why? Because they weren't following the rules about sanctions and secret accounts. They had to completely redo their anti-money laundering procedures. They even had to hire outside help to get it right. And it's not just the big guys. Smaller banks like Small Business Bank in Kansas have also been caught. They got in trouble for not having good enough controls to prevent money laundering. These cases show that the problem is widespread. It affects banks of all sizes. So, what's being done to stop money laundering? Well, there are laws and regulations. One of them is the Corporate Transparency Act. This law was supposed to make it harder for criminals to hide behind shell companies, but there's a problem. The law has been challenged in court. It's currently on hold. This makes it harder to track down the real owners of companies. This is a setback in the fight against money laundering. Despite the challenges, the fight continues. Regulators are taking action against banks that don't comply with the rules. They're imposing fines and penalties. They're also demanding changes in how banks operate. The goal is to make it